Sodom burned beneath a sky that trembled with judgment. And you stand here today feeling the heat of your own collapsing world pressing against your spirit. Lot fled through the rising smoke with fear in his breath. And you feel that same fear as you watch pieces of your life fall apart in ways you never expected. The angels warned him with the words, "Escape for your life," and you hear your own soul whispering that something must change before the fire reaches you. You feel the weight of endings that came too quickly, and Lot felt that same weight as he ran from everything he once called home. The moment feels heavy. Lot watched the city he knew crumble behind him. And you watch the familiar places in your life shift into something unrecognizable. Lot felt the pull of memories that tried to hold him, and you feel the pull of old patterns that refuse to release their grip. Lot heard the roar of destruction rising behind him, and you hear the roar of circumstances that threaten to swallow your peace. Lot felt the sting of losing what he thought would last, and you feel the sting of losing what you thought was secure. The ache is real. Lot moved forward with trembling steps, and you move forward with a heart that feels fragile in your chest. Lot carried the shock of a life overturned in a single night, and you carried the shock of changes that arrived without warning. Lot felt the fire at his back and the uncertainty ahead. And you feel the same tension as you stand between what is ending and what has not yet begun. Lot learned that God can pull a person out of destruction even when everything else collapses, and you are learning that same truth in the quiet places where fear tries to grow. Hope flickers. You sit in your room staring at the ceiling as the weight of recent losses presses against your chest. And you wonder how much more your heart can absorb before something inside you breaks. You feel the silence of the night settle around you like a heavy blanket, and you replay the moments that led to this season of collapse. You think about the job that slipped through your fingers or the relationship that fractured without warning. And you feel the sting of dreams that no longer have a place to stand. If you think about the choices that brought you here, if you think about the choices others made that left you wounded in ways you did not deserve, it feels crushing. You sit in your car gripping the steering wheel as the world outside moves with a speed that feels impossible to match. And you wonder why everything seems to be falling apart at the same time. You scroll through messages that remind you of what you lost, and you feel the ache of conversations that will never happen again. You stare at the glow of your phone in the dark, and you feel the loneliness that rises when no one seems to understand the depth of your struggle. You walk through your day with a quiet heaviness that others cannot see, and you carry questions that feel too heavy to speak aloud. The sorrow deepens. You feel the fear that your life is slipping out of your control, and you feel the fear that God is distant in this season of collapse. You feel the fear that the destruction around you will swallow your future, and you feel the fear that you will not find your way out of this place. You feel the fear that you are losing more than you can bear, and you feel the fear that you will not recover what was taken. You feel the fear that the fire is too close to outrun, and you feel the fear that you are standing alone in the ruins. The night feels long. Yet even here, God meets you with the same mercy that reached for Lot in the darkest hour, and He invites you to lift your eyes from the destruction that surrounds you. You are not abandoned in the ruins, and you are not forgotten in the smoke of what has fallen apart. You are held by the God who sees every trembling step you take. And you are guided by the one who knows how to lead you out of danger. You are seen in your fear, and you are strengthened in your weakness. God is near. You are carried by the God who sent angels to pull Lot forward, and you are carried by the God who pulls you forward even when your strength is gone. You are protected by the God who knew the exact moment judgment would fall. And you are protected by the God who knows the exact moment your breakthrough will rise. You are lifted by the God who remembered Lot in the chaos, and you are lifted by the God who remembers you in every moment of your distress. You are guided by the God who leads people through fire without letting the flames consume them. And you are guided by the God who walks with you through every valley. Mercy surrounds you. You see the destruction, but God sees the deliverance that is unfolding beneath the surface. You see the smoke of what you lost, but God sees the foundation of what He is building next. You see the end of what once felt secure, but God sees the beginning of something that will not crumble. You see the fire that threatens your peace, but God sees the path that leads you into safety. He is faithful. You are walking away from what collapsed behind you, and God is walking with you into what He has prepared ahead. You are stepping out of a season that felt unbearable, and God is stepping with you into a season that will restore what was broken. You are leaving behind the ashes of what could not remain, and God is leading you toward the promise of what will endure. You are moving forward with trembling hope, and God is strengthening your steps with His presence. You are not alone. Now breathe, and let the God who rescued Lot steady your heart as you walk through the aftermath of what has fallen. Now rest, and let the one who holds your future remind you that destruction is never the final word. Now trust, and let the God who brought Lot into safety remind you that He is bringing you into a place of peace, hope. And let the Spirit lift your eyes toward the horizon where new beginnings rise from the ashes. Peace returns. You are not defined by what collapsed behind you, and you are not defined by the moments that broke your heart. You are invited to step into the future with courage, and you are invited to trust that God is rebuilding what you cannot yet see. You are called to release the ruins that cling to your memory, and you are called to embrace the healing that God is placing before you. You are strengthened by the God who restores, and you are renewed by the God who rebuilds. He is with you. You can walk forward with confidence because God walked with Lot, and you can walk forward with hope because God walks with you now. You can walk forward with peace because His mercy covers your steps, and you can walk forward with courage because His presence surrounds your path. You can walk forward with expectation because He is faithful, and you can walk forward with joy because He is near. God remains. May the God who brought Lot through the fire lead you into a peace that cannot be shaken.